reduced interconnect, because of which overall complex cell ka delay will be less than the discrete cells. And keeping the same thing in mind, we have built the most building block, okay, which is faster than NAND gate designs. So which is for any optimization tool like synthesis today, it will always choose NAND gate designs for fastest corner. So we have proven a building block which is better than NAND gate based on interconnect awareness. Okay. And also our architectures will bridge the gap at different levels of abstraction. So I should be knowing the layout of a standard cell at the algorithmic level. If I use this standard cell, this will impact the PPA numbers. So, and also typical EDA tool will always work on slack or power recovery, but we are talking about PPA recovery instead of slack recovery. And as I told you, the innovative building blocks we have built better than AIG, like AND OR graph inverts and invert graph. Instead of that, we are coming up with interconnect aware, like drive strength and FinFET based since standard cells will be different than the normal standard cells and FDSY. So primarily we are talking about PPA based optimization instead of delay based only. Okay, I'm going to move to the next slide. So as I told you earlier, reduced noise margin is impacting the delay, because with less voltage, gate voltage, the signals will take, the electrons will move slower from source to drain. That's why the overall delay of the cell will increase. To meet the same performance, the synthesis tool will choose complex architecture. I'll give a small example. Assume you want to implement a 32-bit adder, and 1-bit full adder we have in the library is a delay of 1 nanosecond. Okay, and if your timing budget is 30 nanosecond, the tool will never choose a ripple carry adder architecture because it will not meet timing. Instead of that, if I build a 1-bit full adder, which is your a typical 28 transistor architecture from Professor John Rabe, which was introduced in late 70s. Instead of that, I build a 32 transistor 1-bit full adder, which will consume more power and area, and also delay should be 0.8 ns instead of 1 ns. I know at the context at the cell level, standard cell level, it will be bigger and consume more power, but at the synthesis level, okay, it will help the synthesis tool to choose simpler architecture. Like for example, it can fit in a ripple carry adder architecture instead of carry liquid. So this is the main fundamental innovation we have done for context-based standard cell selection for any synthesis flow. Okay, this is what I was referring. At the synthesis context, if I can build a different cells, okay, with different architectures for different corners and optimizations, so that will bring in different PPA corners. Okay. And as I told you, in the interconnect delay, we trade off the gate delay. I can increase the number of levels of stack. Stack, I mean, if you know, inverter has only 2 stack, that is 2 transistors in series. So if I can increase the number of transistors in series, my on ratios will increase, because of which my leakage power will reduce. But we should be careful enough to choose an architecture where my overall complex cell delay should be less than the individual discrete cells. Okay. And as I told you, different levels of abstractions will have different constraints. So based on this, we need to come up with a new architectures. Okay. So now after I gave an example of full adder, correct? So similarly, at every design phase, like for example, I just took a processor, correct? So the full adder to XOR to half adder to full adder to processor, we can build a complete context aware processors. And one more context I want to give is the standard cells built today are very generic. For example, in an addition operation, the carry propagates horizontally from LS bit to MS bit, correct? So that is a context. But in a multiplier, the carry propagates both horizontally and vertically. Why? because in partial product generation and reduction phase, the carrier propagates both horizontally and vertically. So if I use the same full adder which is designed for addition, where only carry path is optimized, my multiplier design will be suboptimal. So that's what we are telling. The context of full adder is different for addition and multiplication. So there in multiplication, we should optimize delay of both carry path and also sum path, because sum path will be involved in the vertical carry of the column compression phase of the multiplication. Okay. So, okay, before this, okay, this is the context I was talking about. And to how do we present this? So, like I'll tell you how do we bring in this context from basic building block XOR to the system. Like for example, we propose this for a Qualcomm. So this is a typical Snapdragon IP SoC. So in the left hand, this is the right hand corner, we have seen the building blocks, subsystems of entire SoC. In the left hand corner, we have identified the data path blocks like MAC. So OFDM is a typical solution which consists of a lot of data paths like FFT, FEC, forward error correction, interleaving, deinterleaving, scrambling, inverse FFT, then bit decoder, ARM processor. So because of which there will be a lot of data path involved in the wireless domain. So like typically for Snapdragon, like there will be a DSP processor, a GPU, crypto processor, and also accelerator like vision processor. So these things can be optimized with our innovative architectures. Okay, this is another blown up version of the same IP. So where we can identify like here are the filters like constant coefficient multipliers and adders and accumulators. So these data path blocks will be directly reflecting the system level PPA numbers. Like for example, in this block, if a CPU consumes 10% of the power of the entire SoC, and if I reduce 20% of the CPU ALU power, okay, so I can directly impact 2% of the power at the SoC level. So this is the context we are working on. Okay. So I'll just walk you through the, okay, how are we offering this? So we can offer in two levels. One, a custom library where the cells are built from scratch and I can go up to 40% PPI enhancement with the existing state-of-the-art best design optimized design, versus people will ask for silicon proof. Okay, that means unless you have manufactured and taped out the SoC, we don't believe your standard cell. So you know, startups are always cash crunch. To overcome this hurdle, we package it as like a methodology, like a EDA tool. Like what does this tool contain? If you see in the left and right hand below corner, so any industry standard physical design or synthesis tool, we have built a tool which will sit upon this and help the synthesis tool to choose simpler architecture. I took an example of addition, correct? So in a normal synthesis tool, we will always choose a carry located adder to meet the timing. It will never choose a ripple carry adder. So if I can build these cells, like I told, we call it as Uber cells, like our own custom cells, by not from scratch, but from existing cells. I can build a XOR gate using a OS cell and also a NAND instead of A bar, typical A bar with the AB bar. Right? So that will optimize the PPA numbers, and the netlist which will give out of the synthesis tool and the physical design tool will have 10% less critical nets. So because of which my PD runtime will reduce from 1 week run to 3 days. Because you know 90% of the effort of the PD tool will be involved in last 10% of the critical path nets. So we have demonstrated that critical path nets will be 10% less because of our innovative architecture. So the typical tool is we take in input technology library, the constraints, SDC files and the RTL. So we throw away the optimal netlist. So we in the sense the architecture selection tool will analyze and kicks in its own proprietary architectures to the existing synthesis tool, and we optimize the PPA numbers. Okay. So typically these are the benefits what we see, like the PPA numbers will be improved because of simpler data path, and runtime will reduce because faster synthesis and PD. And beauty is no verification overhead. Like for example, today if you give me in 100 million gate count designs, if there are 2 million XOR gates, if I can just swap with my own architecture and then resynthesize, I can show you some 5% reduction in power if it's a data path industrial design. So, and I don't need to re-verify. So the typical sign-off flow we use is we synthesize, we do a STA to prove that we are not touching or impacted any performance impact, and we do LEC, logical equivalence check, to prove that functionality, functionally both RTL versus our own new RTL, our own new netlist or netlist. We can compare and prove that functionally they are same. Okay. So this was I was referring with EDA tool, which is we'll optimize and then check whether the PPA numbers is correct. So based on the requirement of the customer, we iterate. So this we have done across the domains, right from 65 nanometer to 7 nanometer. So we have done across the library vendors, TSMC, Global Foundries, Samsung, then ARM and Synopsys. So we have done across the technologies, bulk planar, CMOS, FinFET, FDSOI, and also domains like processor, networking, communication, DSP, and memory. And across the EDA vendors, we have done for Synopsys, Cadence, and also Avatar. It's a new startup which got acquired by Siemens last month. So these are the different customers we have addressed. And these are the results we have achieved. A few designs I have just shared. So wherein, if you see the green column is our Venestri Axel architecture selection tool, and the yellow column is all the gray column is always the existing customers. So we can see both area and total power in different designs. Like this is one design, this is one design. It's an Andis processor, 32-bit processor in a Global Foundries 14 nanometer node. This is 6 nanometer TSMC node. So we are able to optimize the PPA and mind it. These are all designs which were optimized to the maximum by their own customers. So we have taken that best optimal design and we have further optimized. Okay. So the key takeaway for this VLSI part is where and all. Okay. So these are I have shown you. With architecture innovation, we can improve the PPA. So where is the, I mean to say, opportunity for consulting? 1 second. Just a minute. I'm just answering a call. So I want to share you oh sir, one conference alidine. Yes sir, thanks. Sorry guys. So where is the opportunity for consultancy? So as I told you, the entire industry is changing because of the PPA driven optimization than only the delay part. So unless we do from scratch, like for example, there is opportunity to develop the standard cell libraries to verify, to develop the RTL which is in this phase. There is a requirement for using our EDA tool with the existing tool to optimize the existing flow. Okay. So and also if you see any top 10 startups in US or worldwide, all of them are addressing the power from the architecture only. So for these architectures should be rebuilt from scratch. Okay, so there is a big and very immense opportunity, and we can play a big role in offering these architectures. Okay, so any questions till this? I want to pause for 5 minutes. Okay, so I assume I'm a binary man. I assume everything is gone in, and so the first phase, as I told you in the earlier, this is the introduction to the VLSI architecture level opportunities in VLSI, developing the SOC, optimizing for PPA, where and all we can improve the PPA. Okay. So the next question is, as we develop the tool from scratch, we need academic support from you guys, like similar to you, wherein we can optimize any design through any industry standard tool flow. Okay. So this is one part. The second part is, in the second part, I want to introduce where and all we are optimized. So as I told you, we are working right from 180 nanometer to state of the art 7 nanometer node, and we have good traction with few customers, and I feel the same requirement will be posed by other companies also, because soon they'll be changing into the architecture innovation than the voltage tweaking, and there's an immense opportunity. Okay. So this I wanted to talk about the first half. In the second half, I want to share you why are we planning to build SOCs for renewable energy. Okay. So I hope there are no questions regarding the VLSI part. If you have one, you can interrupt me. Like we can pause for a few minutes, 1 or 2 minutes.
So, sir, Chandramohan sir, till
Yeah.
what is the limitation of CMOS device? Till what node we can use CMOS device?
See, people are struggling with 3 nanometer node. Samsung has just started a 3 nanometer fab. But the challenge is not the theoretical or limit. The challenge is who will adopt it, the cost. The cost involved in migrating 7 nanometer today is more than 500 million. So that itself is an NRE cost. So who will get, there will be only 1 or 2 few players. Today if I talk, there is Intel, Xilinx, Samsung and Qualcomm are the guys who are fighting. AMD of course, who are fighting to join the 7 nanometer bandwagon. But the cost involved, the risk, the time taken to get back the NRE cost is huge. So I feel it will get saturated at 3 nanometer. People are talking about 3 now, and TSMC started shipping at 5 nanometer chipsets, test chips.
Okay. I have a question, sir.
Please.
How faculty can contribute in the VLSI fields, sir?
Yeah, as I told you, sir, these are the opportunities available. So basically, you guys can talk to the unless you have some differentiation of value addition. Okay, so the startups will not entertain you. We should offer them which they don't have. Like for example, either some niche expertise you should build. Like I was telling you, developing a standard cell with different architectures, verifying them, RTL development, synthesis, physical design, or using our architecture selection tool. So these will be the niche value additions using which you can offer it to any startups. And because of Modi ji's policies, lot of new changes will happen because of domestic market. See, first time in the history of 20 years of my career, ISRO chairman is calling for local startups to build systems for ISRO. Okay, so that will build the lot of requirements.
Sir, can we do designing of this VLSI circuits?
Yes, sir. That's what I am telling. See, not only circuits, the entire system customized for India centric. See, today the decision is taken in US and it's manufactured in Taiwan or China, the chips. So whatever we are using is not at all considered for Indian context. So unless we customize it, the adoption will be much more higher level if we can develop with keeping India in mind.
Sir, is there any agency which can fund our activities? Like I want to design one system, write out how it works.
So that's what, sir. See, we are all startups, correct? We never depend on somebody else. Either we build our own IPs and then try to market it. Okay, build a commercial model out of it. So from the startup perspective, no, because we are till now we have not raised any money. We self-funded. So we design, we consult, we generate revenue and put it back to the R&D. So unless you have a differentiated value, I doubt getting an investment for that too for semiconductor is very, very difficult.
Wow. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, any other question?
No, sir, you can proceed.
Okay, sure. So, see, just to recap what we did. So we have seen the benefit of low power architectures and what is the offering we can do and what are the opportunities. Okay. So in the next section, I will introduce a renewable energy solution. So which will be very optimal for our today's context. And our idea is to build SOCs for renewable energy, which is untapped. We feel it's a more than $1 trillion market available, which is untapped and customized only for India. So, okay, this is another vertical of Banashri. We have come up with a battery life enhancing solution because battery is the biggest storage component of renewable energy, and the life cycle cost of the battery is 3 times or higher than the system cost. Like for example, in solar today, if we take off-grid solution, the system cost is 1 lakh, 40,000 will be battery cost, but battery will be replaced every 3 years. So, but the panel life is 25 years. So if you see in a 25-year lifespan, the battery will be replaced 8 times, because of which the cost will be 3.5 lakh. I'm not even considered escalation of the cost of battery, which is every year 10% for 25 years. So because of which the battery forms the key component. Okay. So what we have identified is a solution, a problem in any lead acid battery, which is called sulfation. Okay. So we are trying to reduce the, as I told you, the large capex. Sorry. See, this is the battery life maximizer solution. The battery is a critical component and is only medium of storage. And the biggest challenge of batteries are it requires a lot of capex, and because sulfation, it has lifetime, the number of cycles is reduced, and a lot of opex. Like for example, as you use the battery, as the number of cycles will increase, charge discharge, the battery will get heated because of sulfation, because of which there will be up to 30% of power loss because of heat. And obviously it is hazardous. Okay, so how big is the battery market? It's a more than $10 billion market currently in India itself. So if you see both Amara Raja and Exide, each guy's revenue is more than 25,000 crores every year. Okay, and these are the different market segments they are addressing, like rural electrification, UPS, home, office, within office, banks, data centers, hospitals, in automobile, 2-wheeler, 3-wheeler, 4-wheeler, like telecom. Most of there are 4.5 lakh telecom towers in India, out of which each telecom tower will have at least 1 or 2 BTS, and every BTS will have a 48-volt 600 Ah battery bank worth of more than 3 lakhs. Okay, you can calculate how big is the market. And industrial automation. So typical TAM analysis. Basically, there are only 2-3 guys, big guys, and a lot of small guys, local manufacturers. So it's more than $10 billion market. So okay, as I told you, the battery is nothing but an electrical to chemical, chemical to electrical energy conversion. So when you charge the battery, which is from 10.5 volts to 13.5, the lead will become lead sulfate. Okay, and there will be energy will be stored in the negative plates. So when you discharge, lead sulfate will become lead plus sulfuric acid, and energy will be delivered to the load. But this during discharge, 10% of the energy will be stored as negative sulfate crystals on the negative plate, which is called sulfation layer. So when you continuously use the battery, the layer thickness will keep on increasing, because of which your battery backup will keep on reducing. So if a new battery gives 2 hours backup, after 1 year it will become half an hour reduced, and after 2 years it will become 45 minutes reduced, like that. So because of which we throw away the battery, 90% of the battery which we throw away is because of sulfation. Okay. So how do we address this sulfation? So what we have done is we have come up with a technology to reverse this sulfation called desulfation. So how do we do it? So first of all, what are the advantages? So we can reduce the capex cost. Instead of a 2-year battery, I can extend the life to 3 years or 4 years, and also the power loss due to heating effect can be reduced. Okay. So it's a typical simple plug and play solution, and we can talk about any type of batteries, like whether it is, basically there are 3 types of lead acid batteries: distilled water, which is called flooded, gel, and AGM. Okay, how do we do? So first we'll identify. One second. So how do we do this? So first we'll identify a process where we can test the battery is sulfated or not. Once we have proven that yes, it is sulfated, so we have come up with our own patented charger, which is PWM based charger, which will adjust its pulse width based on the thickness of the sulfation layer. Okay, it's like hitting a hammer on a wall which is completely hard. So when you continuously hit slowly, the wall will become loosened structure. The chemical bonding structure of lead sulfate will be loosened. Then we add a chemical solvent which will completely dissolve lead sulfate crystals without opening the battery into lead plus sulfuric acid. So plates will be free to participate in ion exchange process. So it's like cleaning a plate without opening the battery. Okay. So how do we? Why are we doing this, and how do we do this? So this is our typical refurbishment kit. What do we call it as? So there is these are the 2 charging and discharging unit, our IP. So we have built a DSP based software developed, and automatically it will sense the sulfation layer thickness and adjust the PWM based duty cycle. And how do we do? So these are the batteries, like 2-wheeler batteries of Bounce and all. We have done some 10,000 batteries till now. So these are all we are doing manually. Okay. So can we automate using our SOCs? Okay. And how do we build a business model? So these are the load points we apply. So we charge the battery, we add solvent, leave it for 4 hours, then we discharge based on the load of the customer. If it's a vehicle battery, we do measure the surge current required to start the vehicle and apply the same load on the battery. If the battery voltage doesn't drop up for 1 minute, like for example, all Activa, any 125cc 2-wheeler requires 33 amps to start the vehicle. So we have applied 33 amps load. 200 watt bulb is 400 watt. Divided by 12 loads is 33 amps. So if it holds for less than more than 10 seconds without a battery voltage reducing, so that means vehicle can start. So this is our process. Similar process we have for UPS, where we measure the backup time right from 13.5 volts to 10.5 volts. And for electric vehicles, we do measure the mileage. Like I will show you for telecom towers how are we doing. So this is the telecom tower warehouse we are doing for Indus. So this is a cell, typical cell. Okay. I'll show you other. One second. So yeah. So this is a typical telecom tower warehouse in Rajpura, Punjab. We are demonstrated. We have taken these cells. Each cell is around 15,000 rupees, and every bank will have 24 cells of this to make it 48 volt 600 AH. And each cell, we have taken a dead cell from scrap, and we have demonstrated a 5-hour backup from a dead cell. Okay. So similarly, the checking point for this cell is we measure for a given load 50 amps, what is the backup the bank can give. This is our charging unit for 48 volts charger, and these are the banks we have been refurbished, and it is giving delivered like this for the telecom tower. So for here we are measuring the backup time. For a 50 amps load, what will be my backup? Okay. So coming to the another domain is education institutes. For example, in a typical engineering college, there will be at least some 300 batteries. Okay. So what we have done is, instead of every 3 years the college will replace the battery, we can extend the life of the battery for 1 more year at 1/3 cost. And also the college can save a lot of power bills, 30% of their power bills. Okay. So this is the typical financial model we work on, and we have shown up to 25% of ROI for typical batteries. So this is the college battery we have in MS Engineering College. We have reduced, we have refurbished, and a typical we have done for Mount Litera Z School also, where we are renting out the batteries. So wherein the school is paying us an EMI for a 3-year contract. So we have taken 18-month warranty battery. We have refurbished after 12th month. So the battery is working since 40 months even with 80% efficiency, which is not possible with the existing batteries. So these are 7-8 batteries we have done for a UPS backup, then display in weighing scales, display in petrol pumps. Okay, so this is the product we have. Okay, so where is the solution for our VLSI part? So in this charger, what I shown you is the bank. This equipment can be automated. So, and this we call it as the model we are doing. We call it as post-mortem model. Like once the battery is dead, customer comes to us to refurbish the battery. Another model we want to demonstrate is preventive maintenance. That means if I can predict the life of the battery, and if I can know when the battery fails, I can always refurbish immediately, so that after dead, if I give 6 months warranty, if I refurbish under preventive maintenance model, I can give 2 years warranty. Okay. So for this, we require a huge IoT system requirement. Like for example, what are the parameters we can measure to measure the health of the battery? Like discharge current, voltage, pressure, specific gravity, and then talk about temperature, then impedance of the plates. If we can measure, we can online we can check out whether the battery can be should be refurbished or not. So in today AMC, a typical AMC guy will come in, add distilled water and then go. So in the same model, we can introduce the regular maintenance and the preventive maintenance model, where we can refurbish battery regularly and create a huge potential of market. So for this, we are trying to develop an SOC. We have been incubated in IIT Hyderabad, and we got a grant for developing this SOC, EDA tools for 2 years, and also a grant to do a tape-out, a schedule run. So because of this COVID, it got delayed. Otherwise, by next March, we will be demonstrating our own processor with the lowest leakage in the world for IoT HDS. Okay, so we can build SOCs for renewable energy, and similarly for rental model, if I give this on rent, correct? If somebody runs away with the system, so we should be able to disable the output of both the battery and our charger using our GPS enabled solutions. Okay. And if the customer doesn't pay the rent for the battery, I should be able to control my asset as a battery. Okay, so this was the other angle to it. And where and all consultancy value is required. So we need expertise in the renewable energy domain, in the control operations, system on chip development, the business model, and also creating an awareness in the market. So today we are doing tying up with a lot of partners locally and India. Literally, I'm traveling right from Kashmir to Kanyakumari. Our dream is to set up these units in every village. We have started with taluk level with local NGOs. So we tie up with an NGO, so they will identify an entrepreneur and we will train them and they will refurbish their own battery. So every village they can refurbish business of almost 10 lakhs every year. And taluk level they can see at least 1 crore worth of business. And at district level we are seeing at least 10 to 20 crores worth of business every year. And that too because of this COVID, it's a huge opportunity is created. Take all the education institutes, batteries of education institutes, vehicles. So everything will be either dead or weak because of non-usage for a long time. So we are working 24/7 to refurbish batteries in 6 months. So another model we have done for like for example Reva. I'll show you the Reva car so that you'll understand the value of it. Yeah. So okay. So this is the Reva car. There are 2,000 Reva cars standing still in Bangalore itself because of COVID. Nobody is using it. Okay. So completely charger will be not working. So this is the Reva car batteries. We have developed our own solution. A new battery is costing 1.5 lakh. We are refurbishing at 40,000 and getting a mileage of 50 kilometers. New battery is giving 60 kilometers. So we did in June 1 or 2 Revas. Now there are 100 people waiting, okay, to refurbish. Okay. So this is the market potential I am talking about. So first of all, okay. Now coming back to our. So any questions till now? I hope you got a linkage of SOC to renewable energy, and renewable energy to next level of consultancy in renewable energy itself can be done. We need a lot of people for demonstration, pilot, and creating awareness. It's a huge. I'm talking about $1 trillion opportunity. Why? Because there are more than trillion batteries in India, so which needs our SOC. And why we need SOC separately for each battery is today. I'll tell you a typical example. You know Bounce, which is a rental company, correct? So they have around 20,000 scooters rented out. So biggest challenge for them is battery is getting drained away because of GPS if it is not used for more than 1 day. Their typical consumption of standby current is 300 milliamps. So it's a 3Ah battery. If you don't charge for 24 hours, correct? So the battery gets discharged. So by our solution, we have reduced the discharge time from 1 day to 7 days. So you increase. So even after 7th day, if nobody is starting the vehicle will start. Plus, if we can automate, the biggest challenge is the leakage as referring, correct? So they are using the existing off-the-shelf processors, so which are not designed for IoT edge part. So that is why we feel there is a lot of value we can add by building low power architectures for these kind of applications, very niche applications. And I want to share few NDAs we have signed as a proof of concept, where we have signed with Intel, we have signed with Xilinx, we have signed with Qualcomm. That shows our value addition, that there's a lot of value we can create sitting in India. That is first part, and also with architecture innovation. Okay, I think I've given a fair bit of idea of what we are talking about. I wanted to talk about. Any questions till now, please?
Can you summarize the opportunities in batteries there?
Yeah, sure. As I told you, it's a $10 billion market in India every year, and batteries are everywhere, right from village, every nook and corner. In village, like for example, house batteries, tractor batteries, two-wheeler, four-wheeler, schools batteries, to the biggest cities like Bangalore. Bangalore has 84 lakh automobile in Bangalore only. So 40 lakhs will be two-wheeler, 40 lakhs will be around three-wheeler and four-wheeler. So each will be having at least 1,000 rupees worth of battery. Two-wheeler battery is 1,000, four-wheeler battery is at least 4,500. Okay, so you can think of the market. Okay, and the next biggest wave, electric vehicle. Okay, it will be fully driven by battery only. Okay, so I feel we can make at least few billions of dollars of worth of business in next 2-3 years to meet this requirement of battery. The usage of battery will increase. And for example, as I told you, in the schools, there are 4,000 schools in Bangalore, and at least 1,000 schools will be having at least 30 kVA UPS, which is having 30 batteries of 150 Ah worth of 5 lakhs. So if we can refurbish at 1.5 lakh, 1/3, so we can build a business of at least 100 crores in Bangalore only. Okay. I'm talking about only education institute. Similarly, I'm talking about hospitals, government officers. We are talking to the BMTC, KSRTC depots. So, and it's that kind of value we can create. I hope I answered your question, sir. Okay. Any other questions, please? And I missed out the other biggest opportunity, the research opportunity. Okay, so wherein there can be lot of publication potentials and thesis potentials based on taking up each domain, like these architectures for processor, networking, wireless domain. There's a huge potential. So we need to rethink and revisit the entire opportunities. Okay, I think we are open to the questions. Anybody, any questions? Yeah, I'm happy to answer. Or if you want to take it offline, yes, I can talk to Professor Krishna. He will connect me. Okay, somebody was asking a question. Okay. For 5G, correct? So as I told you, as I showed you earlier, the Qualcomm Snapdragon is for 5G chipset only. I understood the other reason. We just started with one more association with one more startup, AI startup in US. So this is their processor architecture, their patent. Okay. So it's nothing but a matrix multiplier with a processor and a SRAM. So we are trying to optimize the matrix multiplication, which is used as a search engine optimizations. So coming back to 5G, in 5G it's full of data path, correct? Your DSP block, your RF front end, your video and audio accelerators, your GPUs will be there. So those kind of optimizations for data path architectures will be huge potential. I hope I answered the question. So, okay. I think Uma Keshav is asking for the 5G wireless architectures. Now, this is exactly what I was talking about in the my talk for. See, this Qualcomm is for wireless chipset only. So, these are the blocks which will be data path intensive, like MPEG, CDMA. Snapdragon has like GPUs, crypto processor, vision processors. Like OFDM is the biggest block, power hungry block in the wireless SoC. So we can optimize each one of them based on the context, whether it is leakage power intensive or dynamic power intensive. So these are the exact blocks for 5G domain. Okay. Okay. Somebody is asking highlighting tools for optimizing RF front end. Okay, so RF front end, because we are all digital part, correct? So we are the digital guys. So within RF there is a lot of digital component like your interface block, your processing, we can optimize, which will be data path intensive. So our architecture selection tool itself can be one of the tools for optimizing the power of the RF front end. I'm not talking about the analog part, I'm talking about digital part. Even though in the analog blocks also there is a lot of digital content coming, because nobody wants to build analog from scratch. Okay, they want to reuse it. Like for all your filters, your ADCs will have a lot of, and because of high frequency, there is a lot of noise compensation logic which is built in digital. So it requires a lot of optimization. So we can use this, our architectures, to optimize those data path optimizations. So, any other question?
Cell, sir. Currently, what is the efficiency of solar cell? Single cell currently.
Okay, it depends on which technology you're working on, whether it's crystalline or amorphous silicon. So crystalline, there are polycrystalline and monocrystalline. So we have seen up to 17% of the efficiency. But we should not only check the cell efficiency, we should check the entire system efficiency, right from cell to your stringing, your cables, your inverter and your NCBs, plus the final AC generation at the customer load. We should consider the entire system efficiency.
Okay, thanks.
Plus, if it's off-grid, we should check out the battery efficiency, because we usually see battery will reduce 50% efficiency after 1 year if you use it at the off-grid solutions.
Sir,
Yeah, please.
see, what are the chances that this battery will be replaced by solar cells in future?
Definitely not. Solar battery is storage is an innovative requirement for any renewable energy, because energy from our solar system or your wind or whichever renewable energy is not continuous. Okay, so we require storage for making it smooth transition. So battery is storage is inevitable. Battery is one of its medium of storage, so we can't avoid it.
It can be used only for charging purpose.
Yeah, correct. Storage, na. See, even if you use daytime, na. So if we want to use an off-grid solution, battery should be used, because sunlight will not be continuous. It will be, if cloud comes in between during daytime, we require, if the load should be continuously driven from the constant current or power, so we require storage. So for that, battery is required.
No, what I asked is,
Yeah.
now at present solar cells are being used for charging batteries,
Correct.
because some of the UPSs,
Yeah.
I heard in Tamil Nadu mostly, they are fitting solar cells for UPS,
Correct.
so that daytime they can use direct sunlight for through UPS,
Yes.
and also it can charge batteries.
Yes, that's the typical off-grid solution. That's what I was referring to. So we would suggest on-grid solution for any city solution, because in off-grid the battery capacity should be bigger than the load capacity, so it will get oversized. Like in a typical house, if we have a mixer to be driven for 5 minutes, so we should entirely design the entire backup for battery for mixie load 800 watt. Your house load may be less than 100 watt. So that inefficiency will come. And once the battery is fully charged, if we still have excess solar power, it will be wasted.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Somebody was asking something else. Sorry, somebody asked in some question. Okay, I'll let you put here.
Yeah. The question is, Uma Keshav,
Yeah.
current progress in no current battery charges.
No contact, I think.
Sorry, no contact battery chargers.
No contact. Okay, wireless charging, she was asking.
Yeah. Progress in wireless charging.
I think it is wireless charging she may be referring.
Yes, sir. What is the progress in wireless charging?
See, the challenge in wireless charging is it can be charging for a smaller amount, smaller capacity. Okay, so we are talking about a bigger capacity wherein for mobile phones and all we require only less than few milliamps. Na? So that may suffice. But real challenge is in charging a bigger power backup. So I don't think the technology is mature till now, as far as my knowledge goes.
So this question is, I think you answered. Can you highlight some tools for optimizing in RF front end?
Yeah, as I told you earlier, sir, RF front end will have digital part. So our architectures to any synthesis tool with our architecture selection tool will optimize the power of the RF front end.
They're talking about tools, sir.
Yeah, EDA tool. That's what I'm talking about. So the EDA tool, see what is RF front end? It has both. It's two parts: analog part and digital part. Correct.
Okay.
So I am proposing a digital part power optimization using our tool plus existing synthesis tool or physical design tool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Any other questions, please?
So if anybody has any question, please you can either chat or unmute your mic and then speak.
So I hope everybody was charged through my battery solution. Okay. So
Yes, sir. We conclude, sir.
yeah, as you wish, sir.
Yeah. So thank you very much for your excellent talk.
Thank you.
And as I understand, you spoke about some opportunities in VLSI as well as in batteries.
Yeah.
And I think it's more appropriate for electrical, electronics and instrumentation, telecommunication faculty who can think of improving the lifetime of batteries and designing of systems in VLSI.
Yeah.
It was a very good eye-opening talk for us, sir.
Thank you.
We are very thankful for that. I'll now request Professor Krishna to say a word of thanks.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, Chandramohan sir, for gracing today's webinar and enlightening us with interesting, informative and knowledgeable address. You have very well highlighted the opportunities available in semiconductor industry to carry out the consultancy. You have clearly addressed that architecture reinvention is the key factor in improving PPA. Also, you have also stressed upon the renewable energy and its importance, and also you spoke about how to enhance the battery life. The way you explained the need for consultancy in different domains was truly extraordinary. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
So on behalf of our management and principal and faculty of BIT and today's participant, we wholeheartedly thank you for your talk as well as the time, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thanks once again. Thanks for giving an opportunity to share my ideas.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
So the participants remain connected. We will start in another 7 minutes time, session 2. In the meantime, I will send the link for feedback. You can fill up that, and we have a talk tomorrow. I think all of you know that, for which I had sent the links yesterday. through the link you need to register, because due to the security reasons, they are going to host it separately. A talk on industry consultancy by people from BCCI, that is Bangalore Chambers of Industry and Commerce. So you need to register for that. So that I had sent you yesterday. I hope all of you have done that. This is the session 1, day 3 feedback. Please fill up this feedback. Then we will have our second session starting at 3 o'clock. So I'll get back to you at 1 minute before 3 o'clock. Thank you for patience listening to the technical sessions. Okay. We'll start at 3 o'clock to session 2. Thank you.
Sir, 3:30.
3:30, madam?
Yeah, 3:30. It's past 3. It's already 3:25, sir.
Now it is 3:25. Sorry. Another 5 minutes. That is at 3:30. We will start session 2. A 5 minutes break. But remain connected. Don't disconnect. Another 5 minutes. So we'll start at 3:30 session 2. Thank you. If any of you are having any issues, you can unmute and talk to me, or you can send through chat, or send a WhatsApp. We'll try to handle it.